Hello everyone, Enoch here in today's video, which I'm also streaming, and I'll appreciate if you guys go ahead and check out the Twitch. I'll leave it down below as Enoch the Golier. We will be reacting to a video called Great People Who Weren't Great People by Bo Feng Chang, bro. Now this is an interesting topic to me because I feel like there's a lot of hidden past in history that people do not talk about enough. Your favorite figure, favorite celebrity, they all have some things that they have did, bro, that most people do not know. So we're going to figure out in today's video. Let's get right into it.
Greatness is a virtue that many of us aspire to achieve, whether that be through the skills we develop or the impact we have on others. We all have something in our lives that we wish to be great at, but there's a level
That's
of
facts.
greatness that
I wish to be great at content creation, man. Yay!
some of us achieve that goes far beyond what we expect from most people, where they make such a significant contribution to the world that we as a society have decided that these are the figures who are
Oh yeah, by the way, guys, Muhammad Ali is not the GOAT, bro. We're not going to get into that right now. We're going to get into that later. Muhammad Ali is not the GOAT, bro. This is exactly what I'll be talking about.
To be taught in school, great enough to be quoted, and great enough to be revered in our collective conscience. But in the process of venerating those who did great things, we often fail to learn the full picture of who they are as people, only learning the good, but not the bad or ugly side of them, allowing us to succumb to the halo effect. The error we make when a person's achievement allows us to be blind to everything else about them. Now, to clarify, my intention is not to discredit their actual achievements, nor am I interested in canceling anyone. I'm also not going to mention things people did that were unsurprising for their time, because applying today's expectations...
I mean, yeah, nah, I do get that. People be saying, oh, that was normal back then. Yeah, that is true. So I won't hold them too much accountable. Some things that we do today will be crazy in like 100 years, bro. You don't realize.
Makes absolutely no sense. Most people in human history were probably racist or sexist or homophobic.
Yeah, that was normal too.
You can think of. So I'm not really interested in virtue signaling about how someone 100 years ago said something problematic. However, if what they did contradicts what made them great to begin with, that's fair game. And so, I present to you great people who weren't great people. We'll start with pissing off an entire nation of fake accents by talking about Sir Winston Leonard Spencer Churchill, or just
Damn, he lived a long time, bro. It's like 90 something.
Hitler. To this day, the British consistently regard him as one of the greatest Britons to have ever lived. And if all you know about Churchill are his achievements as the UK's leader against the Nazis, you'd probably feel the same way. But here's the hard truth. If it wasn't for World War II, Churchill would have been remembered for much worse. And that's being generous, since he likely wouldn't be remembered at all. Despite being one of history's most staunch opponents of the Nazi regime and its hateful ideology, he had surprisingly similar views that a racial hierarchy existed, believing that white Protestants were at the top, followed by white Catholics, then Indians, and then Africans. Apparently the other races didn't matter enough. Again, I'm not interested in
what the hell, bro?
Comments if those ideas were mainstream. But even during that time, his views on racial supremacy to justify British imperialism were considered to be fringe.
I hate people with slit eyes and pigtails. I don't like the look of them or the smell of them. On public TV is outrageous.
10 years after defeating the Nazis, he reportedly suggested the phrase, "Keep England white," as a good slogan to use against immigration. But perhaps the worst stain on Churchill's legacy is his action, or rather, lack of action, during the Bengal famine of 1943. While British officials begged for food supplies to be directed for India, Churchill and his cabinet ordered 170,000 tons of wheat from Australia to be transported to Europe in order to build a stockpile for European civilians. Let me say that again. He ordered food to pass by millions of starving people, who were his British subjects at the time, in order to be used for storage in Europe. But this isn't terrible.
Yeah, that's super fucked up, dog.
He once said, "I hate Indians.
Yeah, at least, I mean,
they are a beastly people."
One thing I can't respect at times, bro, the people that are like him that are just blatantly, they'll tell you shit up to your face, bro. They don't like you, bro. I mean, at least he ain't hiding them, bro. No leaks, bro. Just straight action.
Religion. as well as blaming the famine severity on his view that Indians breed like rabbits. By the time he finally approved for food to be sent, up to 3 million people were already dead. Lastly, the man hated Gandhi with a passion, since he represented a largely peaceful movement advocating for Indian independence. Consistent with earlier points about his belief that certain races were inferior to others and his general disdain for India, Churchill was completely against any form of self-determination for Britain's colonies, and actively wished for Gandhi and his movement to die in failure. Now that I've pissed off the English and made goodwill with the Indians, it's time to burn the bridge with my fellow Indians and talk about Gandhi.
Yeah, I did heard there's some bad things about him, bro. I'm actually interested to see, bro, because there's no way that dude was that damn peaceful. No way.
He has been rightfully celebrated by India for helping to bring about the country's independence from the United Kingdom, and he's admired internationally for his use of non-violent activism. But despite his lifelong battle against the oppression of Indians by the British Empire, he didn't seem to mind knowing that the same empire was also oppressing Africans, referring to them as savages, half-heathen natives, uncivilized, and dirty like animals.
Everybody seemed to hate blacks back then. Jeez, bro. Like, what did we do to deserve this? Why can't we all just get along? Even this peaceful dude is still hating on us, bro.
How someone can have those beliefs about a group of people, but also insist that those beliefs don't apply to his own group is baffling to say the least.
Yeah, I ain't gonna get into that racist stuff. Don't respond to hate with hate, bro.
Hey, Britain,
we don't do that.
You need to stop viewing Indians as dirty, uncivilized people and give us independence. Oh wait, you meant the Africans? Yeah, I totally agree with you then. Gandhi also had some disturbing ideas about sex. He would conduct so-called tests on his celibacy in order to determine his self-control. To him, lust was an enemy that needed to be destroyed, and he somehow concluded that the best way to defeat it was to sleep with naked teenagers.
What? I can't with bro anymore. No, I don't care nothing about no damn time frame. None of that. And if we talking teenagers, they better be of age, bro. I just hope they have age, bro. I'm actually hoping. Just makes me see him so different.
We're more than half a century younger than him. Despite all these shortfalls.
I just thought about that. Yeah, even if they are a teen, like even if they are like 19, 18, bro, dude was pushing like 100. Like that was super duper that's grandpa, bro.
Of Gandhi, he helped to inspire younger generations throughout his lifetime, convincing leaders around the world to use nonviolent means to advocate for their causes, with one of them being our next great person, Martin Luther King.
I feel like he gonna talk about, I already have an idea what he's gonna talk about. Let's see if he talks about it.
Jr. Revered for his powerful and inspiring speeches protesting the injustices black people face in America, MLK is rightfully at the top of many lists when it comes to history's greatest people. But if there's one thing confirming that he's still just a human,
you see the way that officer is staring into his soul, bro. I don't know if he's doing that out of love or hate, bro. But damn, just staring into his soul, bro.
Throughout his life as a civil rights leader, women in the movement have been consistently put on the sidelines. Figures such as Ella Baker and Dorothy Height describe their personal experiences of often being made subordinate to male leaders like MLK, despite the fact that they were the same skin color, fighting for the same.
Yeah, nah, that's why I be trying to tell people, bro. Being a woman and being black, that combo, being a black woman back then, that is a dangerous combo, bro. They didn't have no type of respect at all. It's actually sad, bro. I actually feel bad, bro.
I guess when he gave his famous "I Have a Dream" speech and declared that all men are created equal, he really only meant that all men are created equal. And he wasn't much better with women in his personal relationships either, having been a serial cheater to his wife up until his assassination. In fact, as a deeply religious figure,
y'all thought MLK was some super sweet dude, bro. He was still getting in them damn streets with them snow bunnies, bro. I'm telling you. Look, do your research, bro. That's all I could tell you.
K himself recognized the sinfulness of his infidelity and reportedly felt unworthy of the many accolades people place upon him, not wanting to be treated as a saint. But someone who did want to be a saint and ended up becoming one is none other than Saint Teresa of Calcutta. With a name synonymous with selflessness, Mother Teresa continues to be admired around the world as a humanitarian icon, even receiving the Nobel Peace Prize in 1979. The best way to comprehend her impact on the world is by understanding that her primary objective wasn't really to reduce suffering, heal the sick, or even help the poor. Rather, it was to bring as many people to the Catholic Church as possible. Oftentimes, this objective happened to overlap with plenty of good things she did, like building schools and orphanages, feeding people, and taking in those with illnesses. But there were also plenty of moments when her objective didn't do much good, and may have even done more harm to those she was supposedly helping. Many of the facilities Mother Teresa ran were observed as having extremely unhygienic conditions, and a lack of actual medical staff, food, and painkillers. A former volunteer revealed that dying patients were simply given aspirin rather than proper medication, and recalled how needles continued to be reused without being sterilized, which
that's really bad.
Would be horrible today, but was even more horrible during the height of the AIDS epidemic. It gets even worse after you learn that.
So shit, if you didn't die, they was gonna kill you basically, bro. Unintentionally, bro. Because end up dying regardless.
Organization would receive tens of millions of dollars every year, most of which is now believed to be held by the Vatican. Teresa's actions were based on her fundamentalist Catholic beliefs, like her view that poor people suffering in this world was actually a good thing. One saying, "There is something beautiful in seeing the poor accept their lot, to suffer it like Christ's passion." The world.
That is so fucked up saying, bro.
It is from this framework of
I don't know how people have that ideology, bro, that you're paid here to suffer. Why would your creator want you to suffer like that?
Pain, where we can
Doesn't
begin
make sense
to
to me.
understand why none of the hundreds of millions of dollars Mother Teresa received over the years went to bringing in doctors to actually help the sick, or why water heaters for washing and cleaning were refused, or why proper medication wasn't purchased. Additionally, a reporter who visited these facilities observed how volunteers would laugh about a boy who urinated while being tied to a bed and saw an older woman tied to a tree. In another orphanage, volunteers would tie up disabled children without batting an eyelid. There was clearly a general roughness toward people in Mother Teresa's care. So despite being declared a saint by Pope Francis in 2015,
yeah, don't call her no
to
saint,
many
bro.
of her
Nope.
critics, she was certainly anything but. What's the opposite of an old woman who's deeply religious, quiet, and conservative? A young man who's anti-religious, violent, and communist. Yet both are in the same category of those who are venerated by millions around the world while not actually being great people. I am, of course, talking about Mr. Ernesto Che Guevara.
I've never heard of bro in my life. Let's see what he did, bro.
And rebellion. He tortured and executed hundreds of people and
Oh,
established Cuba's first military units to aid production, or concentration camps for short. Tens of thousands of intellectuals, gay people, priests, conscientious objectors, and really anyone who is considered antisocial, such as hippies, were targeted. Which is especially ironic considering that the very people who celebrate him today would be the exact types of people thrown into these forced labor camps.
so people are
just
idiots,
straight up
basically.
executed. Despite having the supposed morally superior ideology, Che referred to gay people as sexual perverts, Mexicans as a band of illiterate Indians, and black people as those magnificent.
So why the Indian people getting it straight for? What?
Magnificent examples of the African race who have maintained their racial purity thanks to their lack of affinity with bathing. Quite the progressive icon. What's
So he hated everybody.
The most ironic thing about Che the anti-capitalist that would have him rolling in his grave would be the fact that his iconic photograph has been making filthy capitalists filthy rich from the very moment he died, selling millions of posters, hats, Flags, hoodies, backpacks, mouse pads, shirts.
People actually
you
buy this
name
shit.
it,
Damn.
being commercialized.
Well, I know
and
there's a lot of
exploited
racists out there, so I wouldn't be surprised.
more than possibly any other figure in human history. Today, his rock star image to most people makes him less Lennon and more Lennon, which, speaking of the devil,
Nice try, but remember, O for out. Electrons go out to oxygen.
Oh.
What the fuck am I even watching right now?
considered one of the greatest musicians of all time, there is no doubt that John Lennon, along with the rest of the Beatles, not you, Ringo, forever changed the world of music. So it's quite understandable why millions of boomers, and frankly, even younger generations adore John Lennon for having created so many songs that continue to be popular to this day. Throughout his life, he was also famous for his commitment to love and peace, and became a symbol for it too.
Oh,
It's
man.
a shame he didn't practice what he preached.
Of course he
given
didn't.
That he publicly confessed to having beaten women, cheated on his wife, treated their child like absolute garbage, and then left his family to be with Yoko Ono so they could make whatever the hell this is.
What is she even doing, bro? It doesn't even sound like it's making a difference.
Perhaps this is why he found it easy to imagine there was no heaven. He probably didn't expect to enter it anyways. But
Oh.
he's far from the only great person
He
to have treated
preached
his
peace,
significant
man.
other
People,
like
man.
crap.
People are so interesting.
Take JFK, for instance. A
Like, I done
president
heard a lot of shit about JFK, bro.
loved by Americans from both the left and right. Something that is impossible for any of our politicians today.
Yep,
And sure,
very
part
impossible.
of it is the simple fact that JFK was young, attractive, and assassinated. Comparing that to the two candidates we currently have.
Old, and they be calling him Orange. I'm not gonna get into that. And the other one can't even fucking speak two sentences without forgetting. What a time to be alive.
Where both of them are not young, not attractive, and not assassinated.
Wait,
But
Trump
an
got them
even
damn
bigger
veneers though,
reason
right?
is that we now
seen
live in
that.
a world where every issue, person, and news story is polarized to such an extent that people will have completely different facts on a subject based on where they get their sources from. Take, for instance, the story about Robert Kennedy Jr.'s Super Bowl ad for his presidential campaign that was very similar to an ad from his uncle. JFK, back when he was running for president. With Ground News, today's sponsor, I can see how there's a blind spot on the right for this story, with only 16 out of 119 sources coming from that side, possibly due to RFK's better approval among Republicans. I'm also able to read through summaries that Ground News creates which highlight differences in what the right and left say about every news story, like how the left is emphasizing the pain Kennedy caused with the ad, while the right is focusing on the sincerest apologies that he gave to his
Wait,
family.
what? What's
So
Super
I'm
Bowl
proud
ad?
to partner again with Ground News.
Oh. Oh, there's a sponsorship, man. Fuck, man.
Back to JFK, the president we
I'm not mad at you for getting that bag, but I'm not going through that.
Who was killed by insert your favorite theory here. But he's also
I know everybody votes to
president
different
who was
things. I don't
too
know
busy
personally,
cheating
bro.
on his pregnant wife while partying in Europe to bother coming back home as she gave birth to their child, who ended up being stillborn. Guess who wasn't much better? Dr. Seuss, the man.
Why he didn't bring up the Monroe shit, right? Wasn't he messing with her too?
We all
I know he
and
briefly
love
touched on that for a
creating
second, but
classic children's
should have been more
books like
specific, man.
Cat in the Hat,
Oh yeah, I done heard about Dr. Seuss, man. If y'all don't know, y'all too young, bro. Dr. Seuss was outrageous.
Eggs and Ham. Ooh, okay, not that one. Wait, not that one either. What the fuck? How
Yeah,
the
he hated
Grinch
black
Stole
people. Everybody hated
Christmas,
black people,
the
bro.
Lorax, and so many other stories. But even he, the man whose books touched the childhoods of every generation going all the way back to the boomers, reportedly had an affair, drove his wife of 40 years to suicide, and then married the new woman just 8 months later.
He's a demon,
Steve
bro.
Jobs, or as I called him in my previous video, Steve Apple, is considered to be one of the greatest figures in the world of technology, putting aside the fact that he was more of the marketer rather than the creator for these Apple products we know and love. Regardless, in many aspects of his life, he was just a straight up bad father, partner, friend, boss, and well, person.
I ain't surprised, bro.
In
That's
the
what you gotta do to
beginning
get your
of
money,
his
bro.
career, Steve Jobs tricked his fellow Apple co-founder Steve Wozniak into working day and night on a project for Atari by imposing an unnecessarily stressful deadline. They agreed to split the payout 50-50, but when Atari paid Jobs $5,000, he claimed they only received $700 and so gave his friend $350, who later cried when he found out about it. He also
snaked his day one, bro. Come on, Steve Jobs. I feel bad for his homie, bro. He really snaked us. Damn.
used to provide his most loyal employees with stock options, which prompted the better Steve to try to do the right thing by giving them money out of his own personal share. Outside of being a terrible boss at Apple, Steve Jobs refused to pay a single dollar in child support.
This is
for
Steve
his
Jobs
daughter
before he
and
went bald?
forced his partner to clean houses and live on welfare in order to raise their child. This is all while he was a multi-millionaire, and it wasn't until he was legally forced to provide payment when he finally gave in. On top of all that, he continued to publicly deny that the child was his, even after
This guy, bro.
paternity tests proved that
You are the father.
What if you can create your own website by saying, this is what I want? With Wix, you can.
And one more thing that might seem insignificant to some people, but what I think says a lot about his character. He would regularly park in handicap spots and drove without a license plate because he just didn't like.
Yeah, he's his definition. He's the reason why people hate rich people at this point, bro. He's like every stereotype.
Made the car look. Yeah, just pure narcissism at its finest.
Literally.
So at this point, it seems clear that being smart doesn't prevent people from making stupid decisions. Even Albert Einstein, whose name is now
Not my boy
synonymous with
Einstein.
genius, had serious flaws as a person. The physics prodigy was able to figure out four-dimensional spacetime, relativity of simultaneity, kinematic and gravitational time dilation, length contraction, and most famously, mass energy equivalence, but somehow couldn't figure out how to treat his wife and children like human beings.
Bro, a common thing is like, no nigga gives a shit about their wife at this point, bro. All these dudes, the common theme here is they treat women like shit and they're all cheaters, bro. Or they be being a woman, bro. Rich, poor, smart, dumb, it doesn't matter, bro. I guess they all just do it.
For one, there's no record of Einstein having ever bothered to meet his first child, and scholars believe that he and his wife gave her up to an orphanage. After having 2 more children with the same wife and deciding to keep them this time, he suddenly decided to start cheating on her with his own cousin. And you might assume that it would...
This nigga, bruh. Your own damn cousin. My boy Einstein, he was smart when it came to math, but he was not a smart man.
Surely a third cousin twice removed or something. But nope, they were first cousins. Their moms were sisters. As if that
Cheated
wasn't
on
bad
his
enough,
wife with his
after
damn
wife
cousin,
found
bruh.
out about the affair, she felt it was still better that Einstein stay with her for their 2 children. But he forced her to accept the following conditions. My clothes are kept in good order. I am served 3 meals a day in my room. We will have no personal relations or affection, unless we're out in public to keep up social appearances. And
This dude was really a damn narcissist, bruh.
you must leave my bedroom or study immediately when I ask you to. In other words, he told her, clean and organize my clothes, make me breakfast, lunch, and dinner, do not touch me, and shut up and leave whenever I feel like it. To add insult to injury, he would describe his wife as an unfriendly, humorless creature, writing, I treat my wife
Why
as
marry
an
her, bro?
employee whom I cannot fire. She ended up having a nervous breakdown after he decided to still leave her and their 2 children and marry his first cousin. Now, one might have hoped that at the very least, he found his true love in his cousin and remained faithful to her happily ever after. But nah. If anything, he had even more affairs with women during his second marriage than his first. So it seems that if you're smart enough, whitewashed enough, respected enough, talented enough, or die early enough, you can get away from the scrutiny of society and
That's the sad thing
maintain a
about this
fairly
world, bro.
positive legacy.
But some people get
Look,
canceled over
I'm
the
not
littlest
saying
shit.
that we need to invalidate people's meaningful achievements just because they also did awful things. And I'm certainly not telling you to buy an Android or listen to the Beach Boys or be racist. Being a great person and being a great person are 2 very different things. But what's unfortunate
Y'all, a
about
lot of that will go over
this
y'all
world is
head,
that
bro.
too often, we only seem to admire one of them when we should be celebrating both.
Both.
Yes, we ought to be thankful for all the wonderful things these people did for us. But we should be just as grateful for the great people in our lives that make life truly great. In the span of one video, I somehow managed to piss off British people, Indians, Americans, right-wingers, left-wingers, boomers,
I mean, but you're not,
everyone,
not really though. He's literally just journaling the facts.
and worst of all, Apple fanboys. So in anticipation of the hate I'll be receiving, help me balance it out by
But y'all, this was actually a great video, bro. I actually enjoyed watching this, and I learned a lot, bro. The people you think is some like wonderful person behind the scenes, bro, they doing the same shit we all doing. We are doing. So, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe and comment for more videos from me. It's Enoch out. Y'all see you on the next video. Peace out.